my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more, because I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I'm gonna walk with the Prince of Peace down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna walk with the Prince of Peace down by the riverside. I ain't gonna study war no more, because I ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more.
And cattails. Muskrats build these lodges and live in them. Look for muskrats feeding on the grass along the edges of the causeway. You may also see herons and egrets hunting for fish, crabs, shrimp, and other food in the marsh creeks and channels. Glossy ibis use their long curved bills to probe in the marsh mud for worms and other invertebrates. Marsh wrens chatter in the shrubs and build football-shaped nests of grass just a few feet off the ground. Thousands of herons, egrets, and ibises nest in a special breeding area called a rookery at the north end of Pewpatch Island. The birds build nests of sticks and trees and shrubs, even the tall reeds that they find in the marsh. While incubating eggs in spring and feeding nestlings in early summer, adult birds fly to and from woodland hunting grounds in both Delaware and New Jersey. The prison camp trail leads from the fort to an observation deck that offers an excellent platform for you to observe the busy activity in the rookery. As you leave the island wetlands, the path bears to the right. The short hills that you see on either side are what remain of the original seawall. During the Civil War era, the seawall was much higher. In 1906, the Army Corps of Engineers began dredging the Delaware River to deepen it. They dumped the dredged spoils onto Pewpatch Island, raising the level of the island's interior by 7 to 8 feet. In spite of the additional height, the island itself remains very wet since dredge spoils do not drain. On the far left is an 80-foot segment of the prisoner of war barracks. This section was built on the spot where the original structure was located, using the original blueprints. Be sure to visit the barracks to find out what life was like in the prison. On the extreme right in the yellow-colored building are the restrooms. Just to the right of that building are two of our 1890s-era artillery batteries, Antigua and Dodd. We are now arriving at Fort Delaware. Check in at the visitor center inside, and to the left for an orientation video, a look at the 1864 diorama, and pick up a list of today's programs. Enjoy your visit.
Fort Delaware, everybody. My name is Bill. You are in luck, because I want to give anybody the opportunity that wants to join that program. To my left, your right, my introduction will be shortened for you. So, those are the bathrooms, mustard-colored building with the blue doors. In the opposite direction, the building with an open red door, that is a reconstructed sample of Confederate prisoner of war barracks. Now, in the Civil War, there would have been at least 51 of those buildings down there. We just rebuilt one of them. Very few Confederate prisoners held captive inside the fort because it was still a pretty busy fort in the Civil War. Not a lot of room. And you wouldn't think to look at it, you think there's plenty of room. Actually, there wasn't. Only Confederate generals were held captive inside the fort, and very nice quarters. If you walk out to the POW barracks, you'll see why the generals would be very happy not to be living out there. The mats we walked in between, we ask all our visitors and staff, only when you're getting ready to get back on the tram, to please walk through one of those two black mats. We do it too when we leave. Very exciting. You walk through some soapy water, you think, that's pretty stupid. I mean, what's that got to do with Fort Delaware? We used to have hundreds and hundreds of bats that would hibernate here in the winter. Now we're down to about 40 or 50 every winter. Not good. A lot of our bats are dying from a disease called white nose syndrome. You're safe, doesn't affect people. Your pets at home are safe, only affects bats. But we like bats. They eat a lot of mosquitoes for us and they're good pollinators. So we walk through the soapy water. It's just woolite and water, no harsh chemicals. Hopefully it's killing any spores at the bottom of our shoes, which is what Fish and Wildlife worries the most about, us spreading the disease accidentally off the island. Special programs. Right there, Miss Emma started just a few minutes ago, so there's probably maybe 10, 15 more minutes left in that program. It's called Pea Patch History Program. It talks about the history of this island and the history of the 3 Fort Delawares that have been built.
So you made it across the drawbridge. Great. Now you're in this little room over here, the one that you walked through. These doors that you see are very heavy. Can anyone take a guess as to what they're made of?
Yeah. Well, see the boat is
Metal. There's metal on front, but there's something in the middle. Wood. That's right. These are actually wood doors that are coated in metal. And that was just to make sure that they were long lasting. And these would have been mirrored on the other side of the door. So if you look down the other side, in that large enclosure, there would have been another side. But this is the main one that they were using. So you made it through these giant wood and metal doors. Now you're in here. That's awesome. You can get upstairs, but guess who's upstairs? The high-ranking Confederate officer prisons. So you can get up these stairs, but it's only going to lead you to this building. It doesn't actually connect to any other part of the fort. So you can make it inside, but you're not actually going to make it to the other buildings. So you're in here, you've gotten through the drawbridge, you're in the doors, you've gotten the guys out upstairs, you are ready to storm this fort. But there's still more doors, pretend there's more doors in front of you. Now you see that grating above you? At this point, we would hope the Union officers would have picked up on what was happening. These gratings were actually for officers to be able to climb up and stick the barrel of their gun down. So it's a lot like shooting fish in a barrel. So at this point, you don't have much hope. You've made it this far, but that's about as far as you're going to get. Now, I didn't even mention the fact that from 3 miles away, they would have started firing at you with the cannons that sit on top of the fort. For about 3 miles to about a mile would have been just cannons. Second, you make it in here, then there would have been the watchtowers on the edge of the island that were guarded by Union officers. They would have been firing at you with muskets all the way from there to here. So as you can imagine, this was a pretty heavily guarded area. Now you saw those Confederate barracks out there. There were far more Confederates than there were enlisted men out here, especially right after Gettysburg. And so you might be asking yourself, why was there never a revolt? Like, why did they never revolt? Why was there no issues with the prisoners here? And that's because all of the cannons on this side of the fort were actually pointed directly at the barracks. You were not leaving. They just wanted to remind you of the fun place that you get to stay for the next few years. Now, if you look above, we have these beautiful rusted rods and then turnbuckles right behind them. Like I said before, that second fort had a lot of issues with staying in one piece during the changing seasons. And that's because it gets pretty humid out here and they're pretty cold in the winter. Now, these tension rods and turnbuckles actually allow the fort to breathe. And so they can be loosened and tightened as the seasons are changing. So that's just one of the few fixes they made to make sure that this fort was able to withstand the war and all the years.
Yes, we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We will rally from the hillside, we'll gather from the plain, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitor, up with the star. While we rally round the flag, boys, rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We will welcome to our numbers the loyal, true, and brave, shouting the battle cry of freedom. And although he may be poor, he shall never be a slave, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah!
So, welcome all. This is our demonstration of the loading and firing of an 8-inch Columbiad. So we'll be walking you through the steps. Today we're just going to go ahead and do one go through because it's rather hot and we'd like to get our staff out of the wool uniforms. So first we'll introduce you to everybody and then we'll get going. So we have a 5-man gun crew. The first 4 only have numbers, so we have number 1, who should be up in the front of the gun. Number 2, who is also going to be up in the front of the gun. They're what you know, they're what we call expendables because they're at the front of the gun, and if anything goes wrong, they'll be the first to know about it. Then we have numbers 3, right? He's the guy who actually pulls the lanyard that sets off the gun. And we have number 4. Number 4. Alright. Whose job is mainly to look pretty. They also get the powder from the barrel and get the ball, take it up to number 2. Then we have the only person with a name. The gunner. Who is actually in command of this piece. Generally, there'll be an NCO such as corporal or a sergeant. So, go ahead.
Attention, detachment. Post.
So,
Take implements.
so the first thing that they're going to do is take implements. They're going to pass out bags to everybody. So they're taking the vent cover off. That covers up the vent. Make sure that stays nice and dry. Nothing gets in there. Use the priming wire to make sure the vent's clear. And
There's a bit of moisture. We'll do load by detail.
okay, load by detail. All right, we're changing things up. We will actually be doing the full drill that we usually do.
Vent
Because
secure.
there's
Load by detail. Load.
because there's a little bit of moisture in there, and we want to blow that out to make sure that that's not going to cause misfire. So, number 2 took off the tampion, which is the cap that goes in the muzzle of the gun. This is to make sure that birds don't get in there or anything. And they'll be doing a search piece, which basically they take out the worm, which is sort of looks like a corkscrew, send it down the gun, and spin it around to make sure that there's nothing in the gun. And if there is anything in the gun, the corkscrew should be able to get it out. Then they'll use the sponge, make sure that any embers or anything that might be in the gun are put out. And then they'll go to the rammer. So they ding the rammer on the muzzle of the gun. That makes sure that everything is grounded. We don't want any static electricity at this moment, as you might imagine. So they'll put the powder down in the gun, ram it, make sure that everything is seated correctly, and then they'll take it back out, and then they'll put the ball in and make sure that there aren't really any gaps in between and the ball, because any gaps could cause an explosion that we don't want. Now, number 2 will do something a little interesting, do a little housekeeping. Basically what he's doing is he's sweeping away any loose black powder that might have fallen onto the carriage, because you don't want that to flash up in their face. So, at this point, the gunner is going to use the priming wire again, make a hole in the bag of black powder, and now they're actually going to aim the piece. Numbers 1 and 2 will move it left and right, and then number 4 will use the elevation screw. While they've been doing that, number 3's gotten out a friction primer and attached to the lanyard. He hands it up to the gunner, who then puts it in the vent. This requires a lot of teamwork and eye contact because we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. especially because this would be 8 pounds of gunpowder that you'd be putting a friction primer on. Not the thing you want to go off at the wrong time.
Gun 68 is ready to fire.
Alright folks, now we have a command for you, battery make ready. So when I say battery make ready, cover your ears. So, battery make ready!
Gun 68, fire!
Alright. So that was good, wasn't it? It wasn't loud.
What the heck? So why did he cover our ears?
To protect your ears from the loud explosion. Didn't you hear the 8 pounds of powder go off? Alright, now,
Load for action, load!
now we'll do a load for action, which is a much faster drill, where everybody's basically doing it by memory as opposed to load by detail, where each command is called out. This is also the point where we will actually be firing the 1 pound of gunpowder that we'll be firing off today. So, you'll see the number 4 has taken the powder out of the barrel. Sponge is coming out. And we got the rammer up there. So, they'll be putting the powder actually in the gun. During the Civil War, this was done with a linen sack full of gunpowder. Today we use aluminum foil because it's just easier. Interestingly, the linen sack did not completely burn, hence we need to use the worm to get it out, exactly like aluminum foil that we use today. Later on, they'd actually start using silk, which burns completely in the gun, which eliminated the need for that step.
Here. They're gonna actually shoot something.
It's too hot.
So,
It's so hot.
we won't be eating
Alright,
lunch
so
in shade.
the gunner just used the priming wire to poke a hole in the bag. That way our primer has a fighting chance at actually hitting the powder.
Point!
And so they'll aim the gun again.
Ready!
Try to cover your ear. I say cover your ears. Put your fingers in your ear. There you go.
Don't worry, I'll tell you when to hold your ears.
Gun 68 is ready to fire.
Alright, battery make ready!
Gun 68, fire!
Alright, so now what they're going to be doing is they're going to secure this gun, and then once they've got it secured, we'll actually open it up and you guys can take a better look at the gun.
Warren, but I'd be glad to take a trip now, though. I have a great deal of purchasing to do. Dr. Nugent said that you attended the cemetery fair in Philadelphia. How was it?
It was marvelous. It's not every day that you get a chance to attend such a grand event. I'm glad I went. The complex they built was 200,000 square feet and covered in American flags. It was beautiful. There were almost 100 vendors selling all sorts of notions.
Did you buy anything?
Do you have to ask? I bought a few new dresses for Marion, some new accessories for myself, and these wax fruit. I thought they'd make a nice addition to the parlor.
Oh, fruit, how appropriate.
But I haven't even mentioned the best part.